Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, your lovely host, Greg Avola, founder of Untapped. I hope you missed me while I was gone. I want to thank John Harrison for filling in some of the gaps of the Drinking Socially Live podcast. Hope that you enjoyed some of their segments that we had in the past, but we're back. Virtual happy hour. It's Thursday night. You know that you're itching for that beer, and hopefully we can have it together in this great session. Before we get started, bring on my guest tonight. I want to introduce you to one of our new initiatives at Untapped, called the Diversity and Inclusion Steering Committee. We launched this week on Monday and are focusing a few amazing products by local artists in the community on our store page, as I put up on the screen right now. These are great initiatives that all the profits from these particular glasswares that we're going to have will fund initiatives in Untapped to really put on put money toward the diversity and inclusion programs that we're going to invest in, both internally on Untapped and externally as well. We're really happy to be able to partner with amazing artists to put together these amazing artworks that focus on our four pillars: the empowerment, equality, and pride and justice. So you can check out all the information on our store at store.untapped.com and check out all the cool glassware and purchase your glassware there. And we'd love to be able to use that money to help our initiatives with diversity and inclusion, both internally and Untapped, and our partners that we donate to with charities. So really helpful that you listen to that. And with that, I want to bring in my guest today, Ale Sharpton. We had him on the 10th anniversary virtual show before. I messed up your name numerous times. So Ale it is, not Al, Ale. So Ale, thank you so much for being part of the show today.
Yo, that beat was rocking, number one, man. I was bobbing to that, man. I was, great to be here. Real quick, Greg, you have an amazing fall, bro. You've got the 10th anniversary popping. You got a new son, Colin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're rocking. Congrats on both, man. Congrats.
Thank you so much. It's crazy to talk about Untapped and being 10 years old. And then on top of that, I have a new baby that was born right before October, or Halloween there. And we're excited to have both of them be part of this. So it's pretty awesome to have those two amazing things. Now, of course, the world out there is not that great, and I'm trying to take things in stride as well. But it's always great to celebrate the things we can, and we can do it virtually and safe, just like we're doing here on our virtual happy hour. But like we do with all our virtual happy hours, the most important thing we do is about the beer. So, Ale, what do you got in your glass tonight that you're drinking on? I know you got a couple things we put on the website earlier. What's in your glass right now?
I am pouring this Hopsticks. I went by the other day. It's an Asian brew pub, nationally renowned. And look, the date, you see that written on label? You need to get some fresh stuff. This is 11/17, and this is the Kung Fu Hops IPA, which is one of my favorites in the South. It's like 6.5. And I got this cool cup I'm drinking out of. Y'all thought I was drinking out of a can. Nah. You know about that?
I think we just showed up those glasses up there. Hey. Very cool. Very cool.
Today. Perfect time. I don't know how you worked that out, but again, you're having a great fall, man.
Awesome.
Cheers to all y'all. What's up, Untapped?
Awesome. Very cool. I'm drinking this is an IPA from Finkel and Garf, which is out of Denver, Colorado. I recently signed up for Beer Drop, which is a kind of a Tavour-like experience as well. A lot of beers that are coming in here from the Colorado area. I've had this beer from this brewery a few times, but not this particular one. So I'm excited to try this out. It's an India Pale Ale or a New England IPA. It weighs in at 6.7 alcohol. It's juicy, tropical, and smooth. That's what the label said. Let's take a chip and we'll see if that's actually true. But I'm sure it is. But all of you out there as well, make sure you crack open your beer right now as well.
Let's get it cracking, y'all.
You're cracking your beer out there. Check in your beer on Untapped, obviously, as well. We want to see what you're drinking. And use the chat out there to actually tell us what you're drinking as well, so we can kind of showcase some of that on there. And I poured it pretty well. I'm pretty a bad pour, but I did a pretty good job with this one. Not bad. Well, Ale, thank you so much for being part of the show. Thanks everybody for watching as well. And cheers, everybody.
Salud.
That is delicious. Always a good beer to end the day. That's what I always say. But let's get right into it.
Hey, Greg, real quick, yeah. Man. If that beer was whack, would you really be like, ooh, and switch it out? Or would you play it off?
No, I'm an honest man. I tell the truth. They didn't pay me to say that. They didn't pay me to drink this beer. I'm going to be the man of the people. And if I didn't like it, I would have said something.
That's real. I just want to know. I'm sure that beer is good. I just want to know in general. You got a lot of beers coming at you, man. I just want to know. What's that brewery again?
This one's Finkel and Garf. It's a special release that we have here. Okay. They did just for this beer drop, I believe. And they are out of, if I can read the can correctly here, they're in Boulder, Colorado. So a lot of breweries have been doing this, is that they've been latching on to these kind of distribution platforms like Tavour, Beer Drop. There's a lot of other ones across the country. And they'll just make special beers just for these releases, because it's hard enough to be able to sell beer to customers at this time. But if they can sell it to someone that can ship it out, that saves a lot of their hassle of being legal in those states and stuff like
That's
that.
right.
So I'm just seeing a lot more of these kind of special release from that side as well, on that front. But anyway, if you haven't heard of Ale Sharpton here, I don't know what you've been doing. Maybe you live under a rock or whatever. But Ale, give us a little history of how you got into this space and what you're doing right now, and a little bit about your passion when it comes to craft beer. So loaded question there, but
yeah.
take it in stride.
As soon as I left Cornell, I moved to Atlanta with my family, and the beer sucked in Georgia, except for a very few that were existing. But it sucked in terms of the very lack of variation because of the 6% law. So we were strapped down to a lot of the major ones, and then very few sprinkled in there. I'm a hop head, and I was looking for it, and I said, this has to stop. So I kind of went the political route, and then I wanted to write about it, which is the most effective way to kind of get the word out there that we need to change these laws. And also, I felt I love to write. So I wrote for a hip hop magazine, and I said, why not try writing about beer? And this was in the early 90s. So no one even thought that would be something that they would read in a magazine like that, let alone a publication anyway. So I did, and I came up with the name Ale Sharpton to kind of have an alias. Again, I'm a hip hop head, so I want to be recognized as another name that is more catchy than my real name, Dennis Malcolm Byron, which I always say sounds like a law firm. I'm very proud of the Malcolm and the Dennis and the Byron, but Ale Sharpton for this, and it's a little cooler. I think y'all would agree. But it just got around, and then I made these suckers some stickers, which nobody had. I said I wanted a way to promote myself. So I made some stickers, and people started putting them up everywhere. And then I was a travel writer, so I visited breweries. And thankfully, that was part of the agenda, is to write about the city. Why not talk about beer? Got my brand around, and I made it a national thing, and then eventually international, going to Europe and South America and a few other places where people are not talking about beer that are looking like me.
Well, it's a good point to kind of go off of. We talked a little bit before the show about your kind of pen name, the Ale Sharpton there. You know, obviously, I didn't know you actually met him. There's a great story behind that. You want to share that experience and how you met him?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. One of my travel trips or whatever, I was doing a writing trip. Another fellow journalist by the name of Gary Stoller was there, and he just loved my story and thought it was so amazing. He said, what do you think about me writing about you in Forbes magazine? I said, nah, I'm good. Yeah, right. I was like, hell yeah, let's make this happen. What's up? What you need? What's good? So he interviewed me, man, and the story blew up. It blew up, though. Here's the crazy thing. When it came out, Al Sharpton was on his plane here, on his way here to Atlanta from New York, and he read my story. Someone told him about it, and he read about it, and he said, I got to meet this guy. Immediately when he landed, he had two of his PR teams reach out to me on my Instagram and ask me if I'd be willing to meet with him so I could tell him my story. I had to check, my schedule to see if that was possible. Of course. I was like, hell yeah. So I went over there with my wife and my father, and we went over there and kicked it with him. And it was an amazing aura. He was just down to earth and cool. And he kept asking me about me, but I wanted to learn about him. And he understood that in the story that he read about me, that I wasn't making fun of him or making him to be a character. It was more of matching the passion he has for civil rights. I'm matching it with my passion for beer. And of course, there's some infusion of civil rights with what I'm doing and equality. So that kind of just comes with the territory. But it was an incredible situation.
That's the crazy thing to kind of go through that perspective and have that interaction with them, and it's great that he's down to earth and he's willing to kind of work with people. It's not just one of those kind of big heads that doesn't care about the little guys, for lack of better words. So it's great to hear that kind of conversation there as well. But you talk about Georgia, you talk about being in Atlanta there, but you are a native New Yorker, as I recall. I am. Talk to me about some of the differences between the New York scene of beer and then the obviously the growing the South in Georgia, the beer growing there. What was the difference that you've seen when you kind of compare the two together?
Well, it's interesting. My parents are from Brooklyn and the Bronx, and then my mom in her early years was raised in Queensbridge, and she always used to ask me, what is all these rappers that are coming from Queensbridge? I'm like, like Nas and Mobb Deep and all that. So that was always fun, and they both went to school in Ithaca and Cornell, took classes at each, and then they went and had me. Thankfully, they loved each other that much. And then I was raised in Ithaca, New York until I was 10, but always went back and forth to New York to go visit family. After that, my family's originally from Jamaica. So after that, my dad got a job in Shaker Heights, Ohio. I lived there for a while, and then I went to Cornell. So to really talk about the beer scene of New York, it was from a student's point of view, so I couldn't afford too much of the good stuff. But when I did, I cherished it, and I wanted to drink more of it. And so when I got to Atlanta, I just was like, okay, I need Garrett Oliver's Brooklyn Black Chocolate Stout. I need more variations besides the beautiful beer that Sierra Nevada made, the Pale Ale. And then finally Sweetwater came in like 97. And I was like, oh gosh, 96, 97 time. And that was bringing me that hop love that I always been yearning for. There were some breweries holding it down here at the time. Atlanta Brewing Company, Marthasville was one of the first that started, Dogwood. But I'm like, man, let's go. Let's get it cracking. And I knew that Atlanta would be a beer mecca in the South, and it is right now. It's incredible. It's such a great beer city. So I go in there now like a OG, they call me, original gangster. And people always just really pay homage and say, yo, thank you for what you've done to the beer scene. And you continue to work tirelessly for it. And that just means so much. But I do it for all of the nation and beyond. But really, Atlanta is my love is here.
Fantastic. We're joining us today. We're talking to Ale Sharpton, who is a world-renowned blogger, alesharpton.com, and we're talking a little bit about beers in Atlanta and its history. And if you want to ask him a question, now's the time to do it because this guy is famous. I'm talking to a famous person right now. So if you want to ask a famous person too, use your chat on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Put your question in there, and we'll put some on the screen as well. Really excited to ask him. There we go. Obviously, we've got a lot to talk about within, diversity and inclusion. It's something that's been on the topic of a lot of beer and brewery discussion. Before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about your collaboration. And behind you right now, I see piano keys on the wall right here. So talk a little about your piano keys and your collaboration with New Belgium.
Wow. It was an amazing experience. What happened was New Belgium reached out to me 3 years ago. And had discussions if I'd be interested in maybe be a consultant to help them diversify and serve those communities that are, well, I guess, underserved, especially with the equality of races in the beer industry. And that's always been my thing to write about it. They noticed that and said, hey, would you like to come out to the Colorado Brewery, which is a famous institution, and talk to them and maybe come up with some ideas? And I said, yeah, I got an idea for you. So I said, let's make a beer. And they said, why? And I'm at the table with the CEO, the head of marketing, and all that. And a beautiful space they have in Colorado is crazy. And everything's sustainable. They're all about saving the world. So there's going to be a lot of innovation there. So I was already wowed by that. But sitting down at that table, I wanted to take the opportunity to maybe work with one of the best breweries in the world. Why not maybe try and make a beer with me? You know what I mean? So I had a concept. And I said, let's make an imperial stout. They said, why? I said, because y'all don't make them. They said, that's true. No. So then I said, a chocolate vanilla stout. They're like, why? I said, chocolate vanilla. It was the thing we're talking about inclusion and races working together. And they're like, okay, I like what you're on. Okay, now the name. I said, I already have a name. They're like, okay, what is it? I said, piano keys. They said, why are you naming it that? Ebony Ivory, come on, y'all. They were like, oh, they're loving this shit, but we're riding. And then I said, not only do I have, they were scared that it wasn't available, and they looked it up. I said, look it up, and it was available. And then we locked it down together, and then I had a whole design concept. I draw, I'm a creative dude. I love clothing, art, logos, graphic design, that's my thing. So I had a whole sketch, and it was loosely based on what that was. And then the piano keys will kind of show love and homage. I'm a music head and jazz, especially to Blue Note. So I kind of embraced that in there, and I threw a little tulip in the A, which you all will see down the line. But so it was perfect. We got chocolate outsourced from Nicaragua and then Uganda, and then the vanilla beans from Uganda as well. And then we made this beautiful beer using Chocolato, which is a chocolatier here in Atlanta. And they made the nibs, prepared them, shot them out to New Belgium. New Belgium was welcoming everything. It was such a dream come true. And it was great. Every place that I poured this beer, in Colorado, in Asheville, here in Atlanta, and a couple other places, every place sold out within the same day. And it was the most diverse crowds these places have ever hosted ever.
That's
so
awesome.
That was the point. The beer will bring people together. Good beer brings good people together, and that's always been a thing to fuel me. Now, as of tomorrow, my dream is totally coming true with the creation of the can, which is right here.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it's a matte black. It's gorgeous. I sat with the design team and we got busy on that. And then from there, I worked with Good Beer Hunting on some of the design aspects of it, laying it out, which is another entity that does a lot of good stuff for us. So it was crazy. Shout out to Andrew Emerton, who sat with me the whole way, who's part of the marketing to design the can. The can is crazy too. If I could just say, it has a zipper on it.
That's cool.
So you can take the jacket off to really properly recycle the can, which you really can't do with the other jackets that are there. So you guys got to be aware of that. Try and take the jacket off and recycle the aluminum that way. There's already a shortage, but when they can just throw stuff away because you can't recycle it, that doesn't help the cause for breweries and us as a world. So with that being the case, it has all this stuff in it. And I'm going to crack one, although I only have 4 on me. It's super limited. There's only 200 being 200 cases, only going to Georgia, but we're doing a big wave to serve more states in March. But we want to get this thing rocking for 2020 and put a good ending on this crazy ass year.
Yeah, that's for sure. Absolutely. Well, we got some great comments that are coming through the chat right here. We have another celebrity that's joining us, Julia. So Ale's one of my biggest beer heroes. Julia, how's it going, Julia? Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Julia is an OG, I guess you could say, as well, right?
Yes, so, oh my gosh, yeah. Many times we kicked it. Salute. Cheers.
Very cool. Thank you, Julia. Dan Uber asked, did I miss you saying, what was your first craft beer ale? What was the one that kind of took you over and said, hey, this is something different. This is something that I'm really passionate about and I can get into?
You know what? In high school, I never really drank anything else but beer. And I mean, I was a senior, so it wasn't that bad. I wasn't like ninth grade and shit. But my senior year, I really just loved the way beer was packaged, and I just always loved the flavor. So Lone Brown made me think I was doing something. I come in with that blue pack, be like, you don't know about this with the foil top. But really, the one that really smacked me was like, yo, you need to get in this game, man. And there were some great brands out in New York and Ithaca at the time, but yo, like I said, Garrett Oliver's Brooklyn Black chocolate stout. I'm like, oh man, a beer can emulate. And this is kind of some, he's an inspiration to me. He let me know that a brother could make the moves that he's done to know that you could be somebody and make it. So I was already going to do it, but he helped affirm that.
He's been a big proponent within the craft beer space for everyone. And I think that the amazing thing he's doing now with the Michael Jackson Foundation stuff has been phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that grows throughout the organization as well. Here's another great question. Yeah, go ahead.
My bad. I'm starting an organization called Brewgether too. We already, that New Belgium helped me initialize, and it's giving money to people who need it. The underserved, a lot of culinary-based situations. Giving Kitchen got some money from it. My sister has a program that's called Navigate that's about to blow up with Chef Schuler, just people who need it. And it's going to be crazy. So that's another thing that came out of this. Brewgether.org. The site, I think, went live this evening.
Awesome. Very cool. Very exciting stuff. That's a very great initiative. I think that as we kind of go throughout 2020, there's been plenty of opportunities for these things to flare up. And we, like we've always talked about before, and with many other panels and what have you, is that, there's time for action, time for need. And I think that, yes, a social post is not going to help anything. It needs to have to continue, have effort, long-standing effect. And these kind of programs are what are leading people to the right way. And look at things like the Black is Beautiful campaign that Weather Soul put out. I don't think that Marcus even imagined that it would come to where it is now, or internationally has beers people making all across the world. So it's just great to see, beer coming together, like you said, and trying to unify and bring it together as one. That's a great thing.
Yeah, it was dope to see that. Again, I had the kind of that frame of mind that made me want to make piano keys a few years ago. And then to see that come out was just like, oh man, it's something that a lot of people can embrace. It doesn't have to be just one cause. You know what I mean? There's other people that can do things that can really help what's going on, especially in the brewing industry. And although I'm working with New Belgium, I am still writing for a lot of magazines, including Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine, Thrillist, and others that are supporting the craft beer community as a whole. So I'm rocking with everybody. You know what I'm saying? New Belgium happened to rock with me on making my own beer, and I will never forget doing that with them.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, let's jump up another question here from Ann. Ann asked, have you ever been to Creature Comforts? And probably, I assume yes, because that's a pretty awesome brewery from that perspective here. What's your take on some of the stuff they're doing over there?
And you have great taste. The head brewer and co-founder, had me try his home brews at the bar he worked at before he even opened up Creature Comforts.
That's awesome.
So I've written about them many a times. They are some of my great friends. Their packaging is phenomenal, and they don't make any shitty beer, and I've tried them all. So yes, I have. And I also been, to answer your question, to Creature Comforts many a times. That's in Athens, no doubt. Shout out to Athens. Yeah.
We have a couple moderators on Tap that are actually from the Georgia area, and they always talk about Creature Comfort as one of those breweries to get. I've had yet to try any of their beers, but I'm
I'll have to look you up, bro.
Please do. I really appreciate that because I've heard so many great things about him, and I'd love to kind of support what they're doing down there. I think it's really great for being that big name that comes out of the Georgia area for beer.
Yeah, it's crazy to open up a brewery in LA thanks to one of the the Russo brothers or whatever. That's crazy. That's nuts. So I'm gonna hook you up, man, and then I'm gonna send you a stout by them too, so that'll age. And by the time Collins of age, he can crack.
Well, the funny thing is, speaking of that, maybe people have noticed from our previous broadcast, but in the right-hand corner, right over my thumb here, I have actually a canister of Sam Adams Utopia. It's the 2006 version of it. And I've only drank it twice, one of my first son and one of my second son as well. So it's a pretty crazy thing to have these really aged beers that come over time. I would love to kind of age them over time to kind of get to that point there as well. So very, very cool as well. And also agrees here that they make great beer as well, and appreciates you answering the question on there as well.
Yeah, I got to show you something. Look at this, dog.
Oh, we got matching sets over here. Matching sets.
I have to grab you that for a second. Yo, it's crazy, though. I still have like a little pinch left. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but it's probably like a port wine by this point, but I don't give a damn. It's going to be good.
I had my first son was born about 4 years ago, and that was 2006. So it was probably aging around, 10 years. Now I had it 4 years later. It's a completely different beer, a completely different kind of perspective there. And it's crazy how that thing ages. So I don't plan to have any more kids, but we're going to find other things to celebrate as well to kind of crack that bottle open and enjoy that. So that's a really good one as well. Speaking of Atlanta breweries, obviously we don't want to put you on the spot of your favorite spots there, but if someone who was traveling, obviously not during COVID-19, what would be your kind of spots that hey, got to check this place out. It's up and coming. It's something that you think you really would enjoy if people were in the area kind of traveling through Atlanta.
You trying to have me hide my face if I forget some of these breweries do? Like, what the hell?
I got to ask the question.
I go a lot of neighborhood breweries, but again, the Hopsticks one is an Asian brew pub. It's bananas. I send everybody there. All of New Belgium, when they come in town, they make it a must to go by there. That's by Andy Tan. The food is phenomenal. It's Asian influence. It's crazy. And he's straight up from Indonesia, so it's not like some fake ass fusion food. So that's number one, and the brews are fantastic. Variant is fire. We already mentioned Creature Comforts. That's in Athens. Let's see. I said Variant. Gosh, there's so many, dude. I want to make sure. Halfway Crooks is killing it. Scofflaw's killing it. Steady Hand is killing it. New Realm is nuts. That started by Mitch Steele, which is going crazy right now. And they have just opened another brewery, and they got some other things in the works. It's like anywhere you go in Atlanta. I mean, Sweetwater now is going seriously the cannabis route, but that's you know what I mean. But It's endless, man, and I'm just saying like stuff right around this area. But I mean, Orpheus, if you want the sour life, you want to get something cracking with that. It's just, and then some black breweries are starting to open too. We got to keep in touch with Atlantucky by the Nappy Roots. I'm there almost every other day. They're great guys, Skinny Scales, and they're really making a reality to open their brewery and make it like the spot. Like, they're serious. They're buying equipment. Thanks to Monday Night, which is another fire brewery that's crazy. Like, again, Atlanta is a great spot to just go and chill and have different brews. But the beer bars are nuts too. We have some world-renowned ones like Brick Store. Don't miss it. The Porter, don't miss it. Hop City. This is crazy.
I know the Porter really well.
Yeah.
When I look at the data on Untapped, the Porter obviously is very top of check-ins. Obviously, with COVID, it's kind of a wash for this year. But talking about previous years, that always came up as a top pick there. So I'm glad you brought that up. Again, I feel like I've been to Atlanta from all the data I see on Untapped, but I haven't. So I'm excited to actually go down there every once in a while and actually see the things I see all day on Untapped from that perspective. Monday Night Brewing, I see all the time there. Creature Comfort,
chilling
all
it.
the great ones on there. So
I'm gonna give you a red carpet Ale Sharpton tour.
Oh,
not many people get that, bro. But we're gonna be Ubering if Ubers are running around. I haven't been in Uber since, but we'll work it out. We'll get it popping.
I like it. Let's put some more questions up on the screen here. It's from Daniel Ross, and Daniel writes, "Hey, Al Sharpton, what are your favorite beers and brews from outside the United States that you kind of enjoyed and tried?"
Outside the U.S., that's crazy. You know, I had to keep. Guinness is dope just because I'm Jamaican, so we got to get that rocking and stuff. But a lot of Belgian breweries are still up there, and they have such a rich tradition. Great question, D Nice. But I think that Delirium is still murdering it. And staying steady with the program. All those Trappist beers are out of control. I'm starting to go into lighter alcohol, so I'm starting to venture a little bit on some England beers that are going out there. And but yeah, I'm gonna use 6% kind of guy, whatever. So I think America, honestly, if I had to pick one country to make my beer, it's going to be the U.S. because they can emulate any flavor, any style, but also do it phenomenally. So if I had to pick one country, I'm gonna stick with the U.S. But I'll still go to Ireland and all those other places. Holler at me.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Guinness because, I mean, I assume that you've been to Guinness, the factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like most people, if you haven't been there before, they kind of think, oh, Guinness is a major big brewery. You go there. The best experience I've ever had is trying a Guinness from the factory. It tastes completely different than what it does in the United States. And people always say that, and you're like, you know what? It can't be true. It is true. Hopefully, El, you back me up on this one, but it's totally true. And you go there, it's like a Disney World. You kind of have a ticket system. You go inside. You go up to the top of their roof there, which is, I forget what the name of that bar is, but it overlooks all of Ireland and Dublin down there. You got to get a pint of Guinness, and it's just like nothing you've never experienced if you've never gone over there before. It's very interesting.
I apologize. I misunderstood you. I thought you said if I had some of the stuff there, but no, I had it sent directly to me, the beers, but no, that experience I'm waiting to have. Yeah, I've never been to Ireland ever. That's why I'm like, yo, I want to go there. But I've never been part of that experience. But Heineken was kind of the same way, too. When I tried their beer when I was in Amsterdam, that was bananas. It was totally different experience. But, you know, I want to go there. But, dude, you already made me, like, cry of not being able to go there yet. That's a damn shame I haven't been over there yet.
I mean, it's like Disney World. I mean, my wife went there, and they actually gave her a certificate how to pour the perfect Guinness. It's like a little practice test. You're giving it a little – I mean, it's crazy. It's bananas, like you mentioned. But it definitely tastes very different when you talk about going over there, overseas there from that side as well. Let's look at some other questions here from Steve. Steve says, what kind of beers are go-to? IPA, double IPA, triples, or stouts? Talking about lower alcohol is your kind of go-to now, but what kind of style is your go-to?
What up, Steve? My beer style, man, I'm a hophead. I'm IPAs. They're not overly hoppy. I'm all about balance, which makes a great IPA. But I just had one by Sierra Nevada that's fire. That I think it's the Harvest. Oh my gosh, it's out of control. I think part of that excitement is just looking for the more traditional ones. I miss them. The Bell's Two Hearted. That's my jam. Like. You can never go wrong with that. That's something. Cigar City's High Lie is bananas. It's still a phenomenal beer. Creature Comforts Tropicalia. My joy too that Creature Comforts makes, since we were bringing it up before, is an automatic. It's 5.5%, but it's so good and bursting with fruit. I like to drink a few. I sometimes have a beer. Traditionally, when I write about beer, I have one, not a heavy one. So the heavy stuff, my Piano Keys is 10%, but it's very sneaky. And I will be indulging in many of these when I get my hands on some right now. But Piano Keys is a nice one just because it's so well balanced and it's not super syrupy and like a syrup bomb and super high. It's 10%, but it's a sneaky 10. But yeah, IPAs, that's my go-to. Pale ales too.
Fantastic. Well, a lot of chat we talk on the chatter in the chat right now about Guinness actually and the tour. People are saying that they want to go as well. There's also a Guinness factory in Maryland, Open Gate. I've never been there before as well, but I can tell you the experience at Guinness was something that I'll always remember from that perspective there. So if you, obviously not now, but in the future, if you ever go there, definitely check it out. It's not gimmicky. The beer is amazing. Typically in the United States, when you get a Guinness, it's served pretty quick. You're sitting your hand in about 45 seconds. But according to Guinness, it's a much longer time. The beer has to sit and settle before it gets over to you. So if you order a Guinness in Ireland or wherever overseas, it sits in a little tray waiting for the beer to percolate, for back to that little word, for a little while before you get it. No one complains about it. No one's like, "Where's my beer?" God damn it! No one does that. So it's funny how that works over there from that side as well.
You know what was crazy? Cantillon.
Yeah,
that was crazy. When I went there, it wasn't like Disney World. It was really on some traditional creaky wood floors and all that. And the tour was bananas. But they were hating on them hops, man. They were hating on them IPAs, man. Hops. I was like, hey, easy, bud. Let's finish the tour before you talk shit. But it was fine. It was an amazing experience. It was really dope. But we have some majestic breweries here that are like amazing tours that that keep going. So you never know. Trillium was bananas in Boston. That's dope.
Yes, I've been there. Yeah. We always talk about Trillium. It has one of those breweries that focuses on both sides, the dining experience, the hospitality experience, and also the beer is one. You do not see many breweries excel really well at both of those endeavors. And they, JC done a great job over there of building out the brewery and focusing on that hospitality experience that makes them
amazing,
so unique. It's very interesting. And I just heard recently this past week, I believe, I trying to actually do shipping. If you live in Massachusetts, you're very lucky because you can order a beer on their website and have it shipped to your door. I mean, you can't get any better than that if you live in Massachusetts for sure. So that's a pretty good experience.
Food and breweries, man, it's starting to become a beautiful one operation. Like you said, at New Round, Sierra Nevada has a dope food program when they open back up with that kind of. Fonta Flora's fire.
Yeah.
Just from the beer side, but Burial has a new spot that's fire with a whole kitchen and everything, a whole nother brewery setting that's really dope too. So you got when you go out to Asheville, that's just a place within itself, man. I forgot one brewery here in Atlanta, Arches too, by the way. There's so many other ones, but Arches is dope. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, let's get one more question in before we give you the opportunity to kind of give your stuff here. From Ken, I live in Chicago, Denver, and Boston, all become really good beer cities. What's your best beer city you've been to? I guess we'll take Atlanta out of it because you live there. Besides Atlanta, where do you think is like the best beer city that you kind of enjoyed to visit?
Denver's kind of ill. Asheville's crazy too, though, because all you can do is take a walk. And his brewery's like just so concentrated and just there. Wicked Weed kind of helped set the tone a little bit, and then Burial and Bamari, and you just keep going to all these breweries, man. It's bananas. So Asheville, if somebody want to go and take a nice drive, and plus it's close to me, it's like 3.5 hours, 4 hours away. I think that would be something dope to do. I went there for my birthday, and it's still amazing even during these times. That's the only other city I went to right now since the COVID thing went down. And Asheville is dope, man. Great question. I would say something in Cali, like San Diego or something like this, kind of spread out. The concentration breweries where you can walk to each one, it is really an amazing experience, and Asheville has that.
That's one place I've never been to, and I feel like it's like a crime being into beer and never being into Asheville before. But one of the things I love, at least living in New York City, I love to be able to walk everywhere, and having the fact that you can walk to all these breweries is something that I look forward to from the Asheville experience there. I had a team member worked at Untapped who lived in Asheville for a little while. All we talked about all day is how great Asheville was. I'm like, dude, you're making me too jealous, man. I can't go right now, but hopefully in the future I'll be able to try that out. So I'm definitely excited to check out Asheville and all the great things.
They got dope hotels, which helps it be a great beer city. I mean, they got the Aloft, and they got the Marriott joint, that new one, and then the Biltmore, which is historic. I stayed at the Biltmore, and they showed me hella love, man. So it was crazy. Yeah, Asheville.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being part of our virtual happy hour today. We really appreciate you guys giving a lay of land. I want to give you an opportunity at this point to kind of give any kind of final thoughts. People can find you on the internet. Things you want to share. Give you the floor, my man.
I appreciate you asking. First of all, again, congratulations, and what you've been doing with the beer scene has been awesome. With me, y'all, I really want you to follow me on my Instagram. I think that's the best way to know how I really get down. And that is
Put it up on the screen here.
Oh, look at that. You on point. Yeah, look at all this craziness I got on there. I mean, I got clothes, I got cars, I got this is shout out to Alice Trebek, amazing people, Nappy Roots. This is within the last 2 weeks. And I do something called Ale Collections, which I show off some of the dopest cans and concepts that are out there. So you want me to try your beer, send it to me or whatever, we'll make it happen. I just try to show love to everybody. So, Elsewhere is on there is another dope brewery that just opened. That's crazy. Eventide. So that's fun too. So I can keep going on the beer stuff. But yo, come check me out. Check me out on my Instagram, and then we'll keep rocking. I appreciate y'all. For real. Look out for Piano Keys and Brew Together.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Ale. Thanks for being part of this.
Thank you. Keep sipping that good shit.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for watching our virtual happy hour, our first one back after a little bit of time. We appreciate you watching in. Hopefully have more of this. Let you know on Tuesday, our Thanksgiving-ish virtual happy hour, talking to Tristan Chan, who is the founder over at porchdrinking.com. He was part of our virtual 10th anniversary party as well. Get a lot of it about what's happening on the beer industry side with the writing side. So make sure they check that out. As well, we just announced a brand new supporting initiative by the Brewers Association called the Small Brewery Sunday, which is a badge running on Untappd starting yesterday. Check into any beer that's part of the BA and you'll earn a badge. Supporting these local breweries is so important at this time of need. It's really important for us to get together wherever you feel safe, whether it's getting curbside or delivery or tap room with the COVID-safe materials. Check out and support your local breweries. They're a big part of our community. And to do that, we're supporting and celebrating the Small Brewery Sunday, which is on November 29th. You have a badge from today all the way to the 29th. Checking into any of one of those beers from any one of those breweries. You can find a link on our blog to find all the information. So thank you so much for watching tonight. We'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you so much for being part of our Happy Hour. And thanks for watching. Cheers.